A young college student vanished during an academic conference in Chicago, slipping out of a late-night emergency session and disappearing into the maze of hotel corridors and riverfront streets. In the hours before he went missing, he bounced between parties, appeared on security cameras with a drink in hand, and told classmates he needed some fresh air. Then he walked away and was never seen again. Despite searches, interviews, and countless theories, no trace of him has ever surfaced. Welcome to Without a Trace. I'm your host, Jalyn. Every file holds a mystery. Every story deserves to be heard. This is Jesse's story. Jesse Ross was born on February 18, 1987 in Kansas City, Kansas, to parents Don and Donna Ross. He and his older brother Andy were raised in a suburb of Kansas City. Jesse is an outgoing person who has always been involved in various projects and activities throughout his life. From kindergarten through 8th grade, he attended St. Regis Grade School. During these years, he assisted the St. Monica's daycare located in downtown Kansas City. He joined Cub Scouts and later Boy Scouts. He played soccer and ran track. He worked a concession stand at a ball field in Kansas City where he was recognized for his salesmanship and ability to organize. Jesse even went to Jefferson City, the capital of Missouri, with his father and a group from the St. Regis Catholic Church to support pro-life legislation. Jesse graduated from Archbishop O'Hara High School in 2005. While in high school, he ran track and cross country, was on the yearbook staff, participated in the Knowledge Bowl, and was in the school's pep club. He worked for a local movie theater in Lee Summit with his brother. It was here that Andy and Jesse formed many lasting friendships with their coworkers. Jesse became involved with a band called A Dead Giveaway that one of his coworkers was a part of. He became the band's manager, traveling with the band and helping organize events. For his senior project, Jesse organized a Battle of the Bands and raised over $600 for Catholic Worker House. Upon graduation, Jesse received an academic scholarship for his ACT score. He went on to attend the University of Missouri, Kansas City, majoring in communications and minoring in politics. Jesse was active in a number of different clubs on campus. He was a member of the Spirit Committee, which helped to organize various activities on campus, and he was pledging to the Lambda Chi Alpha fraternity. Jesse also held down a few jobs while going to college. He worked for Crowd Systems, where he was able to attend concerts and sporting events while he worked as security. He was especially excited when he worked Chiefs football and University of Kentucky basketball games. In the fall of 2006, he started working for Nuvio, a voice-over internet provider. He also became an intern at 95.7 The Vibe, a popular Kansas City radio station. Jesse was given the on-air personality Opie Cunningham as part of the popular morning show Shorty and the Boys. The radio station frequently featured Where's Opie Cunningham segments in which they would send Jesse out to locations somewhere in Kansas City and invite listeners to guess where he was. Jesse was looking forward to his promotion from intern to paid member in January 2007. He also continued managing the rock band A Dead Giveaway and was a DJ who liked to make his own mixes. Jesse had a keen interest in international affairs, and as a freshman, he became a member of the university's Model United Nations. Getting to go to the 2005 Model United Nations Conference at the University of Chicago had been one of the highlights of his freshman year. Students from all over the country attended the conference, making it a great way to meet new people. Jesse was excited about taking part in the conference again his sophomore year. On Saturday, November 18, 2006, Jesse left the University of Missouri with a group of 13 other students en route to the 4-day conference in Chicago. That afternoon, he called his dad from the road just to check in and tell him not to worry. Once in Chicago, Jesse and his classmates checked into the 4 Points Sheraton. He shared a room with Ralph Parker, a close friend who had gone to the same high school as him. The convention was organized at the Sheraton Towers Hotel. The first 3 days of the conference were a blur of committee meetings, speeches, and sightseeing. On the third day, the students had 5 free hours in the afternoon. Around 2 p.m. that afternoon, Jesse called his mother to let her know that he was having a blast at the conference. He promised to call again the next day when he and the 13 other University of Missouri Kansas City students and their faculty sponsor had loaded the vans for the drive home. Jesse then spent the rest of his free hours hanging out with friends. He brought his friend Megan to the Billy Goat Tavern. Later that night, Jesse and Ralph went to the Hard Rock Cafe and returned to the Sheraton Towers in time for the 6 p.m. event. Despite an alcohol ban at the conference, a group of students was having a party involving alcohol. After the event ended at 9:30, Jesse headed back to the Four Points Sheraton and went to a room where the party was going on. When 12:30 a.m. came around, most students began heading back to the Sheraton Towers to attend a dance hosted by the conference organizers. Jesse was captured on security cameras at 12:43 a.m., leaving the Four Points Sheraton with a plastic bottle containing a vodka cocktail. Jesse was not seen again until 1:09 a.m. It's not clear what he spent the nearly 30 minutes doing, as it's just a 15-minute walk from the Four Points Sheraton to the Sheraton Towers. Jesse then enters the dance and was seen in photographs smiling. He left the dance 20 minutes later and went to the 8th floor of the Towers, where he went to another party with students from another school. He arrived at the party at 1:30 a.m., where he continued drinking for the next hour. At 2:30 a.m., the conference had a meeting meant to stimulate an emergency meeting which happened in 1990 when delegates were debating how to respond to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. Ralph was already waiting for Jesse when the emergency meeting started. According to a witness, it looked like Jesse needed help walking and he seemed drunk. However, Ralph said Jesse was coherent, though he didn't hear Jesse speak throughout the meeting. At 12:50 a.m., Jesse whispered something to Ralph that he couldn't hear. Ralph tried to get clarification from Jesse, but Jesse just got up and left the room. At the time, Ralph thought Jesse was just going to use the restroom. Outside the room where the meeting was taking place, another student witnessed Jesse and said they noticed that he seemed inebriated. They described what Jesse's eyes were red and that he was slurring his words. When confronted by the student, Jesse said he was just going outside to get some fresh air. The meeting ended at 5:30 a.m., and Ralph went back to his and Jesse's hotel room. There was a pile of clothes on Jesse's bed, which, in the dim light, Ralph thought was Jesse. When Ralph woke up at 10 a.m., he realized it wasn't Jesse in the bed, but just a pile of clothes. He was not concerned, as he believed Jesse was sleeping somewhere else. Later in the day, Ralph did become worried when he still hadn't seen Jesse, and his calls were going straight to voicemail. Other classmates also began to get worried and started knocking on doors looking for Jesse. Ralph contacted the conference's organizers. Derek Moorhead, the faculty member that was accompanying the students from the University of Missouri, Kansas City, called security at 1:30 p.m. He checked with the conference organizers and students, but no one knew where Jesse was. When it was time for the group to return to Missouri and Jesse still hadn't been found, Derek contacted Jesse's parents and filed a missing persons report. This was at 4 p.m. By this point, most of the 1,200 students who were attending the conference had already departed and were heading back home, making the search for Jesse more difficult as the detectives weren't able to gather witness statements. Detectives later reached out to students to establish a timeline of when Jesse went missing, but this also proved difficult as it was just before Thanksgiving break and colleges were closed, so it was a challenge to locate the students. Hotel rooms were searched and no foul play was found, but authorities were worried since they knew Jesse was intoxicated. Authorities then conducted an extensive search in both hotels and its neighborhood. They collected surveillance camera footage and interviewed the hotel staff, but this didn't bring them any clues. Derek stayed in Chicago and spent 12 hours searching the streets for Jesse. The details of what Jesse did the night he disappeared are murky. Based on interviews with students and footage from security cameras, his parents know that he and other students were drinking, and they know that he walked out of the ballroom during a break in the emergency session. He went down an escalator towards the hotel's lower level. The hotel has security cameras at all of its exits, except for the ones on the south side of the property. None of the cameras show Jesse exiting the hotel. It is possible he left via the south side, which would have then dropped him out onto a walkway along the Chicago River. The students were staying at 3 different hotels, and Jesse was staying at the Sheraton Four Points, which was just over a half a mile northwest of the Sheraton Towers, where the conference was being held. If Jesse decided to walk back to his hotel, he wouldn't have crossed the Chicago River unless he was lost. Despite this, investigators initially speculated that Jesse might have fallen into the river. The Chicago River is in the opposite direction of the hotel where he was staying, which would explain why surveillance cameras failed to record him walking to his hotel. The Chicago Police and Fire Department sent divers to search the river, but Jesse was not found, and it was thought that his body was swept into Lake Michigan. It was later proved this was impossible since the floodgates were never opened. Jesse was last seen by a surveillance camera in the hotel lobby around 2:30 a.m., just before he went to the emergency meeting. Detectives also could not find any footage of Jesse leaving the hotel, so they theorized he left through the employee's back door, which had no cameras monitoring it. However, it was proven with the help of Ralph that Jesse had not gone out the staff door. Instead, it is likely he used a staircase which was adjacent to the conference room. This staircase leads to the parking lot, which had a camera on it, but it wasn't facing the direction towards Jesse's hotel. It was believed Jesse took off toward his hotel where he was staying, which was about half a mile away. This route was short and it was well lit. It was also covered by surveillance cameras, but there is no footage capturing Jesse walking between the hotels. Police have found no evidence that he's a victim of foul play. There has been no activity on his credit cards or his cell phone since he disappeared. Detectives found no unusual clues in his hotel room or on his personal computer. With no other clues to investigate, Jesse was featured in the television program America's Most Wanted, which brought in a few leads. A trucker in Texas thought he had seen Jesse entering a vehicle. A couple in Florida who ran a rehab center thought they had Jesse staying with them. And another person thought they had purchased an item from him on Craigslist. Each lead gave the family a glimmer of hope, but none of them led them any closer to finding Jesse. Now, all the family is left with is theories. The first theory is that Jesse was a victim of a mugging gone wrong. When Jesse attended the conference the year prior, he was mugged at knife point and had his camera stolen. Some believe that, like the year prior, Jesse was mugged. He may have tried to run, scream for help, or fight back in some way, and the mugger killed him and disposed of his body. Those against this theory argue that this is not likely, as an opportunist mugger who did accidentally kill someone would probably just leave the body where it lies, though some say his body was dumped into a dumpster, eventually leading him to be disposed of in the landfill. Other theories include various ways Jesse could have fallen victim to foul play. At least one of the conference attendees said that Jesse talked about going to a rave while in Chicago, though no one is certain if he followed through on this plan. Detectives did try to follow up on this lead since Jesse brought CD discs and flyers to promote his band, and they were found missing from his room, but they were unable to find any evidence to support this theory. People in support of this theory argue that illegal raves are held in abandoned buildings across Chicago, meaning it would be near impossible for Chicago police to search every single abandoned building across the city in search for Jesse. Those who believe Jesse attended a rave believe he died by accidental overdose. Others believe Jesse wandered into the wrong part of Chicago, such as entering gang territory, and was murdered. This theory is not likely as Jesse was in a relatively safe part of town. Also, contrary to popular belief, gang members don't make a habit of killing random non-gang members. Gang murders are usually in retaliation for other murders or violence or drugs. The last theory, arguably the easiest explanation, is probably the truth. Jesse fell into the Chicago River or fell directly into Lake Michigan. From the Sheraton, it would have taken Jesse just 15 minutes to get to some spots where it would have been very easy for him to fall into deep water. The quickest route to the lake from the Sheraton Hotel can be reached in just a mere 3 blocks, and it would have taken Jesse just an 8-block walk to reach a spot with no railing and where the water is immediately 20 feet deep. The lake is large, cold, and deep. If remains aren't carried to the shore by the currents right away, they tend to sink and stay underwater. There is little chance that Jesse's body would be found. Detective Mike Roth of the Chicago Police Department even spoke of the Chicago River, saying, "There are cars in there, debris, branches, you name it. It used to be a dumping ground. It's dark and murky, and there are all kinds of chemicals. Some bodies come to the surface within a day, but others come up months later. There is no rule. The police told Jesse's family that he probably fell into the river, but his parents won't accept this answer. If he fell into the river, they want to know why. Did he fall? Was he pushed? Did something else happen? Until the Rosses get definitive answers, they will never stop looking for Jesse. Thank you for listening to Without a Trace. I hope you enjoyed our deep dive into Jesse's disappearance. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe and follow Without a Trace on social media. And join me next week as I dive into another case.